This is a video reviewing how to run a chi-square using SPSS. So when looking at your handwritten work, you've learned how to run a chi-square goodness of fit test, and this is comparing a sample to some known population where you get percentages from a certain group, and you're comparing to see if your sample matches or fits that sample, fits that larger population. You also have the chi-square test of independence, where you have two separate groups and you're looking to see if those groups differ. The important thing to remember about these two types of tests is that you use frequency data for these. So you're looking to see if the counts that you have for each category match what you expected. Now, the good thing about SPSS is that you don't have a different way of running a goodness of fit test versus a test of independence. You're only running one chi-square. So a chi-square is just a chi-square on SPSS. Here in this example, we've got a variable called age and a variable called music. To learn more about these variables, let's look on variable view and see what we have. So age is the age of the participant, and the categories that we've got are 1 stands for age, people aged under 35, and 2 is for people who are over 35. Then we've also got a category called music, and the two types we've got are 1 for CD, 2 for MP3, and what this stands for is how those people bought their music. So you can see here also that both of these measures are nominal or categorical, which is what you need for a chi-square. Alright, so to run the actual chi-square and to see whether age dictates the type of music that you are, or the way that you buy your music, we'll go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then Cross Tabs. And then you've got your two variables and then a row and a column box. So it doesn't matter what order you put these in, as long as one goes into one of them and the other goes into the other box. The important part comes when you go to statistics. You have to click statistics and choose the chi-square option. And as you know, you'll also want to click the phi and Kramer's V options so that you have your effect size calculated for you. Then you'll click continue. You'll click cells, and then you'll click observed and expected. So observed is the default setting. You'll need to click expected to make sure you get those as well. This will help you compare whether you have more or less than what you thought you would get. Alright, so now let's click OK to find out what we've got. And you'll get an output that looks like this. So this is your output. This is what shows you the results of your test. And you can move this little line over so that you have an easier time reading what's going on here on the left. Alright, so we've got a few boxes here. Let's look first at the chi-square test, since this is what we are wanting to calculate. So we see here that the Pearson's chi-square value of 21.46 is significant. So we see that this level, the significance level, or this p-value is less than 0.05, which means it is significant. Also, if we look down here at the effect size values, we have an effect size of 0.562, and it is significant as well. So what that means is that we can look at this cross-tabulation to see whether a certain group did a certain behavior more or less than anticipated. So if we break this down, the under 35 crowd, we expected that about 18.5 of them would buy their music using CDs. However, only 9 of them actually did this. If we look at the MP3 method, we see that we expected 16.5% of them to buy them using MP3s, but it turns out 26, so the overwhelming majority of people under 35 bought their music using MP3s. So that might be downloading it, using iTunes, what have you. Let's do the same thing for the over 35 crowd. So here we expected that about 17.5 of them would buy their music using CDs, but it looks like 27 of them actually did. So more than expected bought their music using CDs. And then if we look at MP3s, we expected 15.5 of them to do that using MP3s, but only 6 of them used the MP3 method. So it looks like what we might think informally about age groups, that younger people might be using more technologically advanced ways of downloading their music. That might be the case here when you look at this breakdown of this study. So that's how you run and interpret a chi-square. You would be able to pull all the information that you need for your APA write-up from these boxes. And remember, no matter what you're doing, a goodness of fit test or a test of independence, this is the same method that you'll use for both.